All right, good morning. Mark Goler, Deputy Incident Commander on the West Lolo Complex. I'd like to take some time this morning to discuss our fire activities over the last couple of days and where we're going in the next 2 or 3 operational periods. So over the last couple of days, we've seen concerted mop-up going along Division Zulu. That's allowed us to show some containment there. We've also been implementing some firing operations which we have brought low intensity fire from the upper elevations down to our control lines in order to minimize fire effects. We want low intensity so that we're not causing undue damage to the natural resources, and also it allows for a much lower intensity fire that if there were any issues, we're able to take care of that. But it's a very controlled, very methodical approach. We've got fire in the upper elevations that continues to spread downhill into much more receptive fuels. And as it goes lower and lower into the elevation, the fire intensity increases. So we're really taking the punch out of the main fire by doing these operations. And if you'll notice, the main fire that's burning in the upper elevations and spreading downhill, we're keeping this pretty even so that we're not getting ahead of it and allowing the fire to run uphill, but basically we're just maintaining this spread slowly to the south. And so as the fire in the upper elevations continues to move south, we're just going to keep up with it. And we're accomplishing that through aerial ignition and ground ignition as we go into the later evening hours to keep that squared up. So what we've seen going back a couple of operational periods, all the way back to Saturday when we were doing some of the aerial ignition, we were able to go out yesterday and look at some of the fire effects. What did the fire do to the resource? What does it look like on the ground? Very nice. It's low intensity, cleaned up some of the surface litter, some of the heavier fuels, and the canopy is still intact. We have a few trees that are browned out, but overall it's very hard to see that there was a fire even through there unless you get on the ground. So we're very pleased with the effects. It's overall maintained the overall health of the forest in that area, and we prevented that total stand replacing burn that could have occurred had we not accomplished these firing operations as we've done. So that will continue as we move farther south. We're trying to stay on pace with the main fire until we get down to the Copper King fire scar. And then once we do that, we've lessened the threat to the communities, to the varying subdivisions that are out there, the houses that are immediately adjacent to the fire, and then also some of the other values at risk along the highway corridor. So that's where we are, and we'll continue this slow approach. And as we move into the upper elevations, our tactics will change somewhat, especially because we're lowering our complexity and not have as much threat to the public. Another concern of ours and also of the public is the Ashley Creek watershed, which provides the water supply for the city of Thompson Falls. We're being very careful as we approach that, not only from the activities that we have, but also monitoring the main fire itself in order to prevent any high intensity fire in that area.